Hello and welcome to Motorpoint. I'm Tim. Now, for years and years, the best-selling cars in the UK have been things like the Volkswagen Golf, the Nissan Qashqai. But nowadays, you're much more likely to see a Tesla Model 3 at the top of the sales charts. It's Tesla's most affordable car, and it's now the best-selling EV of all time. In today's video, I want to find out if it is actually a good car or if we've just all been drinking Elon Musk's Kool-Aid. That's a weird phrase, but anyway, let's get going. In the UK, you can get the Model 3 in three versions. A standard single motor version, which has got a smaller battery, less power, and there are two dual motor versions, the long range and the performance. Now, the cheapest one of those is 46 grand, and the performance is 60 grand. But from Motorpoint, nearly new, this one's got about 10,000 miles on it, it's a performance, and it's 50 grand. So you're saving 10 grand off the list price, and you're beating the weight for a new one as well. Now, there was a small facelift to the Model 3 in 2021, so all the chrome bits on the outside were turned black, and the interior was tweaked ever so slightly, and the battery size has changed microscopically. So this is basically the same is a new one anyway. In terms of driving range, the claim figures are 305 miles for the single motor, 340 miles for this performance version, and 374 for the long range, but you can take about 80 miles off of those if you want an actual real world figure. And it is worth noting that the single motor charges slightly slower than the dual motors, but that's kind of details. What you really need to know is that you buy one of these, you get access to Tesla's wicked supercharger network. They're prolific, they're everywhere, they're fast, and if you go to a normal public charger these days, you'll realize how many EVs are being sold, and the charger network is getting busier and busier. Tesla ones, there are so many of them, it's not much of a problem. In terms of looks, the Model 3 is either cutesy or bug-eyed alien, depending on your point of view, but it's unmistakably electric. It's got a low bonnet because it doesn't need to put a petrol engine under there. It's got a blanked-off grille here, like every other EV, to say, hey, I don't need to cool a dirty combustion engine. The roofline is quite high compared to the rest of the car because you get more passenger space that way. And if I had one niggle with this car, it's the color choice. It's a bit tame. White was the only free choice when this was made, and you could pay a bit extra to get it in grey, red, black, or blue. Where's the fluorescent orange? I really want to bring out my eyes or something. From the side, the Model 3 is all sleek and aerodynamic like a greased octopus on a drag strip because every bit of smoothness helps get more range. Look, the door handles, they're smoothed off. You have to poke them to open them. They don't pop out automatically like the ones on the more expensive Model S. Now, in terms of wheels, you get 20s on the performance version, you get 19s on the others, and from new, you can actually put smaller 18s on it to get another 15 miles of range, which is quite handy if you really want to maximize your electric driving range. Around the back, the Model 3 is pretty nondescript. You do get a Tesla badge and you get a little dual motor badge to say you spent a bit more money and you've got a fast one. On the performance one, you do get this carbon fiber spoiler, but it's not the nicest carbon fiber spoiler I've ever seen, so I wouldn't worry about buying it purely for that. The boot itself is quite big. However, the opening, it's a saloon, so you can't drop things down into it. The Model Y is a hatchback, so that's got a more accessible boot, but it's still a huge space, and you've got a space under there for your cables and everything. It's a huge well of opportunity, actually. But it's also got a frunk as well. I don't know how many times I've said as well. It's got a hell of a lot of storage, and I'm going to show you by putting some bags in it in what we like to call the Motorpoint Big Boot Challenge. I put stuff in the boot in a slightly awkward fashion. I'm actually quite impressed. I've managed to fit 2 big suitcases in this as well as 2 carry-ons. So you're pretty good for family holidays, unless you've got a pram, in which case, yeah, you're gonna need something bigger than this. And I've not used any of the underfloor storage in here or shown you the frunk. And I'm gonna show you the frunk now. Yeah, the big suitcase isn't quite gonna fit in the Model 3's frunk. However, my little carry-on fits in like it's not a problem at all. I'm really impressed with how much space there is in the frunk of this, and that's just space you don't get on a combustion engine car. Well done, Tesla. Before I hop inside, I should point out this little card is the key for the Model 3, and you just hold it here to lock or unlock the car, or you can download the Tesla app to your phone and just walk up to the car and it automatically unlocks it. It is the future until you lose your phone or that little bit of plastic. Now I've got in the back of the Model 3, I'm 6'3", my knees have got a little bit of room, My head touches the glass ceiling, which is standard at least, and I hit my head on that getting in and out. Feels a little bit cramped for adults back here, but kids will be fine. Now, you've got quite a high floor because the batteries are under there. That does mean two things. My feet are a bit squished under the driver's seat, and my knees are bent at a slightly unnatural angle. They're not dangling, they're kind of propped up. And I think on a long journey, that might get a little bit tedious. And you might have noticed the rear windows don't go all the way down, so your little ones can't collect McDonald's from the drive-thru, which is a shame. Up front, the Model 3 is an exercise in minimalism. I think it looks pretty awesome. The only buttons in here are these two little jog wheels on the steering wheel, which thankfully is round. It's not one of the weird Tesla yokes. You've got a strip of wood across the dashboard, and quality actually feels good in here. I know Tesla's copped some flack for dodgy build quality, but this feels great to me. Now, you don't get an instrument binnacle here. Your speed appears up here in the top right-hand corner of this 15-inch display, which is used for literally everything, which is fine for most things, for your media applications, for Spotify, but you do have to use it to adjust the aircon, and that takes your eyes off the road, which I don't really like. And you have to also adjust the steering wheel, reach and rake through the menus, which is a bit odd. Now, this doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but you've got built-in Spotify and loads of other apps. You can watch Netflix on it while you're charging. It's great. It's really sharp. It's really responsive. And I don't mind the fact I don't have instruments here. I've also got tons of storage in here. I've got two big deep cubbies here, place to charge two phones there, door bins. It's great. I mean, what more could you want? It's even got a nice little frameless, rear view mirror, which looks premium as well. Right, enough about the interior of this car. Let's go and discover the Model 3's real party trick. How fast it is and how it drives. Let's go. Right, let's go for a drive in the Tesla Model 3. I've adjusted the mirrors using the touchscreen and the steering wheel buttons, which is a little bit weird, but I've got myself pretty comfortable here, and the seats do feel nice and comfy as well. Now, I'm briefly going to talk about the performance of this, and then I'm going to show you the performance out on some twisty roads later. But yeah, the single motor version of this does 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. The long range version does it in 4.2. That is exceptionally fast. The performance one does it in 3.1 seconds. That's ridiculous. That's only 0.7 or something of a second slower than a Bugatti Chiron that I drove last year. That was very fun, but it wasn't electric, and it certainly wasn't the future. But anyway, yeah, this feels comfortable and refined. I'm actually not bothered by the fact my speed is here rather than here. It's not far to take your eyes off the road. It just feels like you're driving something very different. I've got a big windscreen, I can see out of it very easily. I can adjust my regenerative braking, and it just feels normal and easy to drive. There is a chill acceleration mode if you want to get a little bit more range and just calm things down. But anyway, let's go do some dual carriageways and find out what it feels like at 70 miles an hour. Right, I'm accelerating from 40 to 70 on a dual carriageway, and that's 70 miles an hour. It is really impressively quick. And the thing about electric cars is they accelerate so hard, even when you're already doing 30 or 40 miles an hour. They've just got instant punch at any speed. Now, at 70 miles an hour, get a little bit of wind whistle off these mirrors, but this is a reasonably refined, comfortable car. And obviously you've got no petrol engine noise. It's just quiet and comfy, frankly. You can sit here with my tunes on, and dual motor versions get a better speaker setup than the single motor versions. That is worth knowing. But otherwise, yeah, happy days. But anyway, I want to get some twisty roads to talk about the handling. Right, I'm out on a country road, and I have to say the Model 3 does feel like one of the sportier electric cars you can buy, and you can tell that Tesla's put efforts into making this fun to drive. The steering is weighty like you're in a sports car, and if you're a nerd, you might have noticed it's on proper Michelin sporty tyres as well. Yeah, and obviously it is absolutely flipping rapid out of corners, but it stays quite level when you're in the middle of a corner, and you've got confidence to drive it, certainly at the posted speed limit. The brakes are quite good, they don't feel unnatural, and you are thankful that the performance version gets bigger brake discs compared to the regular one, because you need them, frankly. So yeah, this is definitely an EV that can put a smile on your face, and there's even a track mode if you're feeling particularly ambitious and want to put it on a track day. I'm not sure I would, because it's still quite a heavy car, and over some bumps you still feel, this is a heavy car, and those jolts are going to my spine, but otherwise, it's just a joy to drive. I really like it. It feels like you're in something very unusual and very different and very, very fast. But anyway, enough about how this drives. Let's go back to Motorpoint for an outro. So it turns out there's a reason the Tesla Model 3 is so bloomin' popular. It gives you all of Tesla's EV know-how and performance in a nice family-sized package without the expense of buying a Model S or a Model X. And I really like it. I mean, sure, they've gone a little bit too far in terms of removing some of the physical buttons in the cabin, and space in the back can be a little bit tight for adults, but otherwise, it's a fantastic package. I see why it's so popular. I think one of the best perks of buying one of these is you get access to Tesla's wicked supercharging network, which is just brilliant and removes half the faff of living with an electric car. What's not to like? Thank you ever so much for watching this video. If it's been helpful, please hit like. Remember to go to motorpoint.co.uk to see our full range of Tesla models and other nearly new cars. And also subscribe to the channel because we've got lots of used car reviews coming up very soon, not all of which will be as fun and fast as this. Boo-hoo. Goodbye.